Hello and welcome to the 121st episode of Fur, Fins, and Feathers. Today our guest is Steve Oliveira of Swansea, a local folk. Steve, welcome.
Great.
You are going to talk about photography.
Yep.
And how people can take beautiful pictures of their pets, their animals, and wildlife in general.
And it's very easy. All you have to do is get outside. If you're sitting on the couch at home, you can't take pictures of your pets.
How'd you start?
My stepfather was a photographer, and we had a dark room back in the days of film photography, and I wasn't really good at the processing of it. And then the digital age came, and with that, it's very, very easy to manipulate pictures. Also, you don't have to worry about how many pictures you take. On this camera, I can take like 2,000 pictures. And if you take a picture of something and it's not right, or a lot of times if you're at a party or you're doing photos of people and you get the person with the one eye down, that's why I take a lot of pictures. This camera will take 15 pictures in 1 second. So it's also really good for sports. I've taken it to baseball games, and when the pitcher releases the ball, you can actually see the stitching on the baseball, because the camera's so fast and so shoots out really, really fast. But I love it. I combine it with, years ago, I worked for Outward Bound, and I also worked as an environmental instructor. And I love being outside. My job, up until a couple of years ago, for 3 weeks every year, I had to work out in Westfield, Massachusetts. So I'd get out of the car, I'd get out at 5 o'clock, and each night I would just take off into a different direction. And the Berkshires, I mean, there's beautiful places out there. Sunset, there's animals. Oddly enough, I don't do a lot of photography of people. I don't know why. I'll just go out there, and a lot of pictures that we take, or I take, a lot of times it's just being in the right place at the right time. Sometimes it'll be somebody will say, hey, I went here and took this picture, or I'll see something posted online, and I'll say, ooh, I got to check that out. But photography, I found out a lot of photographers are like fishermen. If they go out somewhere and they get a really nice picture, they won't tell you where it is. They might just generalize and say, I was in Swansea, I was in Somerset, but they won't say, well, I was behind here and over here, because that's their spot to get pictures.
That's their niche.
It's their little thing, yeah.
There are some great places in Swansea,
yes.
right here.
So, actually, just before we came here, I was at the Swansea Dam, took some pictures. There is a spot along the, is that the Coles River behind you?
Yes.
The Coles River back there. And then a lot of times where I'll just drive around the back roads of Swansea. There's one on Bark Street. There's an old tractor by the Simcock Farm.
Yes.
I have the picture of that tractor all 4 seasons. I got it with snow on it, the summertime, and the spring, and the fall with all the colors. That's one of the beauties of Swansea. You can go all around and just, I'll be driving around, a lot of times a shape or an animal or a tree. I like to take pictures of trees in the wintertime, because you can actually see all of the branches. It almost looks like a brain type thing. I don't know what it is with me, especially black and white. I really like to take the pictures of the plants and the animals. And
yesterday, for example, I was at Colt State Park in Bristol. 21 or 22 deer were out there in the afternoon, just grazing.
Right, and because there's no hunting there, they're not as timid as deer out in the wild. There's another place down in Newport that I go to a lot of times. I can walk up within 10 or 15 feet of them, because they know they're going to, I guess on some level they know that, hey, these people aren't going to come after me, and you can get very close to them depending on where you go.
Talk about some of your pictures.
All right. I actually have probably about 8,000 pictures in my portfolio. And again, this picture right here, that was taken in the Roger Williams Zoo. And
zoos are a great place.
Yes, I got some nice ones in the zoo. It was some sort of a condor, and I was shooting through. They had a fence up, so I had to kind of put the camera in between the fence so you couldn't actually see it, and so the fence wouldn't show up. And I actually have a print of this. This is I prefer a canvas, because with a canvas print, you don't have to worry about the light reflecting when you put it up. And you can also put a nice frame around it if you want. Another thing that I do with canvas prints, because of the material that it's on, I can take a picture and make it either a little out of focus or bump up what they call the ISO. And when I print it, it ends up almost looking like a painting. It's incredible. So it's really, and the neat thing is you don't have to have any special, you can be self-taught to do all this stuff. Or you can get involved with local clubs. If you're looking to be a photographer and you want to know more about it, hang around with a photographer, number one, that's usually the best deal. Or if you, whatever city or town you're in, if you Google photography club, you're going to get a lot of hits. And there are good resources. They're all over the place.
One night, Glenn and I saw you. You invited us,
Yeah.
and we went to a photography exhibit.
Yes.
In Taunton.
Yeah, Trescott Street Valley out in Taunton. Yeah, I had some of my aerial photography. I love to fly. I fly out of Newport, Rhode Island in a helicopter, and we go up with the doors off. And it sounds dangerous, but it's not. I've been doing it for 23 years with these guys.
You haven't fallen out.
Not yet. And we bank and crank at times. When they had the cigarette boat races in Fall River, they came up the river doing 60, 70 miles an hour. We were flying alongside of them sideways so I could get out of it and take pictures. I love it. I love the flying. And then again, I'm lucky that I can mix and the photography within my love of being outdoors and my love of being up in a helicopter up in the air. It's a neat thing. I'm very lucky that I have this as a way to vent or a hobby.
And this is also an interest that people of all ages can enjoy.
Exactly, and actually, you don't even have to go crazy. You can a lot of these cell phones nowadays, the pictures are incredible on them. The way the cameras on them, and you can take a picture and then you can crop it. You can what they call saturate it, make the colors really pop out. You can sharpen it, so it's very forgiving. And the average person, that's what I think digital photography did, was made it so that the average person could be a real good photographer. But again, you got to get out there. One of the things that I say is, I don't take the picture, the camera takes the picture. I find the picture to take. So you can't take good pictures unless you take pictures. That's one of my
You got to get out of the house.
You got to get out of the house, yep. Or if you like to do pets and stuff like that, again, you can, if you don't want to go out in the middle of nowhere. And I go out in all sorts of weather. You're prepared for it and you're dressed. There's no such thing as bad weather. It's bad clothing choices. And you'll get to see all sorts of different animals, all different times of the year. During the winter, you got to search a little bit harder. In the summertime, it's basically just walk. And one of the things that I do is when I walk up a path, if it's a gravel path and I'm by myself, I don't walk on the path because the noise of the gravel will scare any animals away. The other thing to do is I pay attention to which way the wind's blowing, because I want to be walking with the wind in my face, because if the wind's blowing behind me, any animals that have good sense of smell will pick you up. The other thing I do is when I'm going to go out like that, you don't wear deodorant or any perfume or anything like that, because they'll pick that up really, really quick. And they'll just, boom, because most of the animals don't want to mess with people. With coyotes, and you'll see a couple of pictures later that I've taken of, they'll just stop and they'll freeze and they'll look at you. And if they don't feel threatened, they'll stay there, and then eventually they'll bug out. They don't really want to mess with people.
Let me see some more of your
Let's see
work.
what else we got. Boom, boom. Okay, that fox was, believe it or not, in Fall River at Battleship Cove. There's a family down there of foxes. There are 3 or 4 of them. It's right down by where the Iwo Jima monument is. And during the summertime, they're well protected out there because people can't get in there. It's by where all the electrical stuff is. And there's this big, like, little bushy island type thing where they hang around. And I was just out there and I walked right up to the fence and he was peeking at me, so I took a picture of him.
Very nice.
What else we got here? That is, that was at the Swansea Dam in the rain. Excuse me. The little spot you see in the back of the picture. I forget what the name of that type of duck that is. I used to know the name of it. And this duck lets you get really, really close. I guess he's used to people.
I saw him this afternoon.
Yeah, that's where it was this afternoon before I came here. I went and got a couple of shots of him. Again, that was at the Swansea Dam. We'll go to the next one. Look at the eyes on that horse. I don't know if you can see it from here. That was out in Western Mass. There it is. Look at that. See the eyes? It's incredible. I have a picture like that blown up in my office, 16 by 22. And driving along, oh, it's a horse. I've been taking pictures of horses that day. And then I looked and said, wow, look at the eyes on that thing. And from what I understand, that's not a very rare thing. There are a lot of horses with eyes like that. And
there are so many beautiful places all throughout the Commonwealth,
yep.
especially in Western Massachusetts.
Yeah, I tell people I've taken photography everywhere from Chappaquiddick to Williamstown, Mass, way up in the north corner, to Rockport, to North Adams. Like I said, a lot of it was in through the Berkshire, so there's a lot of beautiful places up there to take pictures. All right, what else we got? There it is. Those two cows were in Freetown, and they were sitting there and they were kind of nudging with each other. It was a big open field. There were horses behind them, and that just happened to be the one that I snapped up there. I don't really do too many of the livestock type stuff, but horses and goats and stuff like that. You'll be seeing another one coming up pretty soon. Can we go to the next one? Oh, this story. I was down on Martha's Vineyard 3 or 4 years ago, and I was at the hotel, and all of a sudden a thing came up, popped on my phone. A friend of mine that lives on there said, "Hey, there's a snowy owl down on State Street." It was 3 degrees out. I had my gear on. I went and drove down there. That owl had his back to me for probably an hour. He would not turn around. They returned sideways, and I was waiting and waiting and waiting. I was like, man, I was going to yell to try to scare him or to get him to move. And finally, after about an hour and a half, he turned. He looked at me like that. I snapped 2 or 3 pictures, and then he flew off. So I got lucky with that. That's the only snow owl I've had. They do hang around, from what I'm told, up at Gooseberry Island in Westport. Occasionally, people will spot them up there. They're very interesting. They're very interesting and beautiful.
That's a beautiful picture.
And they're a beautiful animal, too. I love owls. I used to work with a person that was like an owl. When I worked for the Outward Bound, one of the people that I worked with was like an owl specialist. And they told us all sorts of neat things about owls, how they, when they fly, you can't hear them. Their wings are shaped so you can't hear them. So when they go up against prey at night, they usually go out at night, you won't hear them. Then their talons are really, really strong. I think almost 800 pounds of pressure in them.
Wow.
They can do some damage, yeah. All right, what else we got? Excuse me. That is a snapping turtle. I took that. There is Oak Knoll. There's an Oak. That's another thing I do. I do a lot. I'm a member of the Audubon Society, and there's Audubon sanctuaries all over the place. And this was at Oak Knoll, and that's a real small snapping turtle. He'll get real big, and you don't want to be on the business end of that guy.
And where is that located?
That's on 118, I believe, or 152. I think it's Seekonk that it's in.
Okay.
Butterflies. A lot of times I'll go up to a great place for butterflies and dragonflies are Assabet. It's called Assabet Audubon Society. I believe it's up in Stowe, in that area. There's a lot of butterflies. There are lots of dragonflies. There's blue herons up there. There's all sorts of different animals up there. That's where I took that one from.
What you are doing for us, too, is you are giving us an appreciation for the beauty of nature.
It's out there. There's beauty out there. You got to go. Sometimes you have to go look for it. Yeah.
Some other. What do we have here?
That, is an egret. That was taken on Coles River. I was actually going to go out to a different spot, and as I was coming up Route 6, just out of the corner of my eye, I saw 3 or 4 of them over there. And so I jumped out, and I probably waited about 15 minutes for that picture. Again, the camera has a lot of shots per second. I was able to sit and wait, And as soon as I saw his wings start to go out, snap, 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 take a lot of pictures, and I was lucky to get that one.
What a beautiful picture.
Yeah, well, it's a good camera, will get you good pictures. What else we got over here? All right, I was at the bowling alley across from, in Somerset, the bowling alley down
Yes.
on Riverside Ave. I was actually doing shots of an osprey up in that little nest that they have up there. And I didn't even, I was focusing on the nest, and then again, out of the corner of my eye, I saw them walk over, and that mama goose and the babes walked over, and they posed for me, and I was able to get a good picture of them.
There are so many beautiful pictures of geese
Yeah.
right down the street
Yeah,
here.
yeah. I was told at one time they were almost, they were endangered at one point, way back when the DDT, until they stopped all that stuff.
And now they are very plentiful.
That's a red-tailed hawk. I took a picture of that guy at a place called Land's End, way up in Rockport, I believe it is. It's way, way up on the tip. And I was walking along and wasn't getting a lot of pictures there. It was the winter time. He just happened to fly up and land on a tree, so I just stood there and said, "Don't move, don't move, don't move, don't move," and brought my camera up and took a picture of him.
Do you have a favorite season?
No, not really, because each season provides you with a different milieu, a different genre, a different set of circumstances. In the spring, everything's coming up. You'll get the beginning of plants starting to bud. The summertime, you'll have more energy, you'll have more animals around, obviously. In the fall, it's the color. And in the winter, I like to shoot black and white in winter because it really it brings out the depth of the picture more when you do it black and white. What else we got over here? Hummingbird. That was taken in a friend's backyard. They had a hummingbird feeder. And again, it was just sitting there with the camera, holding it away from the feeder. That was actually cropped. Excuse me. That bird was going to go into the hummingbird feeder. And the feeder was in the picture. But again, I just cropped it out to eliminate that, to make that the subject. You have to have high speed to take pictures with the wing to be like that. The camera that I have right now shoots at 1/8,000th of a second. That camera that I took that in, I think it was maybe like 650. So now when you take them, you'll see more detail in the veins. It's a little blurry there because of the speed of the camera.
But my question would be, people can't start very slowly, can't they?
That's what I would recommend. Start off even with your camera phone. You don't have to buy a big expensive camera. Right now, the price of what they call SLR, single lens reflex, they're dropping because the cameras that they're all making now are called mirrorless, which they're a lot faster and they get more megapixels. But you can still, like I said, that picture there was not from this camera. That was from my older camera. And you can get into the hobby as much as you want. Actually, to be honest with you, there's more that I don't know about this camera than I do know. A lot of times I'll shoot on automatic. A lot of times I'll mess around with the speed, the aperture, the ISO. It's called like a triangle, and you want to get those three things to match up to get a real good picture. What else? That was across the street from Prescott Farm in Newport, or Middletown. There's a farm down there, and he just happened to he was there for a while. He put his chin on the back of another goat that was, as you see the hair going on the picture, the bottom of the picture there. And he just stood there like, take my picture, take my picture, take my picture. So I grabbed up the camera and boom, I got him. What do we got next? All right, that was in Freetown. There was I think it was Freetown or Berkeley. There was this was a little pond near a cranberry bog where they used that water for that. And if you notice the duck in the middle with his mouth open, look at the hairdo he's got. I'm not sure what that kind of duck is. I'd never seen one of those before. people have told me that they told me the name of them, but I forgot it. I've got a picture of him that I used when he moved away just by himself, and you can really see that little his little hairdo. I don't know who his hairdresser is, but that's where I took that one.
Very handsome guys, though.
Oh yeah. And again, you can see the light. That's another thing that plays into. Excuse me. When I'm out somewhere, I'm always aware of the light, and you can see the pictures there. The light was on that side to brighten them up a little bit. A really cool thing is what we call the golden hour. It's like the hour before sunset. Everything's going to have that glow. That's why in Hollywood they do a lot of filming outside. It's going to be during that golden hour, either in the morning or in the night, and it really enlightens your picture. Like if I'm going down Horse Neck Road to go, a lot of times I go to Allen's Pond. If it's getting towards the afternoon, I won't look to my right because the sun would be in my eyes. It'd be like trying to take a picture under that light there. You won't get the picture as much. Where if the light's behind you, it's going to light up your subject more, and you can mess around with your speed and all the other settings that you use. What's next we got here? A blank screen. I have no idea what kind of bird that is. Maybe somebody could call in at some point or let me know. But I do know I was in Connecticut when I took it. I don't remember the name of the park, but I do remember it was Connecticut. And again, it just flew by, and I just picked up the camera, and I got lucky with that shot.
Where was your work exhibited?
Well, right now, basically, I have a Facebook page. I don't have. A couple of times I've done shows. I did a show in Westport once. We did the one in Trescott Street Gallery. This is going to be something when I'm getting close to retirement age. That's when I think I'm going to start really getting into probably sales. I've never really sold anything. Again, this is just a hobby of mine. I have some beautiful pictures of the Swansea Town Beach at sunset. I should have brought them, but we wanted to do animals. So next, if you ever do a show on landscape,
we will.
Oh, I've got some knockout ones down from the beach. Again, my house is a 5-minute drive to the beach. What I'll do is when it gets close to sunset, I'll look out the window, and if I see orange, I'm down there in a heartbeat. But I got some beautiful pictures down there. I've been down there. I bought my house in Swansea in 2011, and I'm down there. Even this time of year, I'll go down there. I've got times where I've been down there during the middle of a snowstorm. We had a hurricane one time that was coming close by one time, and I actually put on my gear and walked down there. I just love being in the outdoors. It's a little challenge type game I play. What do we got here? That is across from the Continent Bakery.
Yes, I recognize that.
And I got the picture on that one because of the kind of the symmetry where they're both turning to the outside and their tails are together. That's what drew me to that picture. I've also got some really nice pictures from that area at sunset. There's a dock over there with a boat on it, and it looks like it could be a promotion for Swansea, Mass. It's a really, really nice picture. But I didn't bring that one.
But you will come again.
Oh yeah.
Flamingo.
That was at Roger Williams Zoo. I actually have one of my pictures that made their calendar for them about 3 or 4 years ago. That's not the picture that we used. I love the colors on it and the texture. And from what I understand, they get that color from the shrimp that they eat. That the reason why they get that pink color is they eat. I guess their main diet is shrimp, and it causes them to be that color.
It's a beautiful picture.
Yeah. And again, that was taken at Assabet. There's all sorts of different colored dragonflies. There's the blue ones, the red ones. There's green. There's like a iridescent or fluorescent green ones, and it's a combination of I'll have my 400 millimeter lens on, and I can get really, really close to them. One of the tricks that I found about them is if you see one, if it flies off, what I do is you stay still, and it seems like they always come back to the same spot. It's happened to me more than once where I would take a picture of them. I'd go to take a picture, and he'd fly off, and I'd go, and I'd sit there and wait and wait and wait, and then sure as heck they'd come back to the same exact spot. That's why they were scared of when, and they see that I'm not going to attack them or whatever, but they end up coming back. Bald eagle. That was at Lincoln Woods. Where's Lincoln Woods? Somewhere in Rhode Island.
In Lincoln.
Lincoln, duh. Way to go, showing my education. That frog was taken in Connecticut, the same place I had taken the other one.
Your photography is outstanding.
Well, it's a good camera, and again, if you get out there, you'll be able to take good pictures.
And I'm sure it takes a lot of practice.
Yeah, yeah, and also you hang around people that know how to take pictures, and you learn from them. You ask them questions, or you take, like I said, Google photography courses. There's lots of people who will come out and tell you what they know. I've only gone out one time with another photographer who was new at it, and kind of said, "Here, this is what I do. This is how I do it." But the best thing you do, again, with digital photography, you can take a picture on automatic and then switch it to manual and just mess around with your settings. Because if the picture comes out lousy, you delete it. It's not like the film days where you had to pay for the development to look at it to say, "Oh, that one's no good," and throw it out. With the digital, you can take 5 or 6 pictures of the same thing, 5 or 6 different settings. And then what that does is you throw that in the memory bank and say, well, when I had this light at this time of day with this color thing, I set it on this. And people have cheat sheets. Again, there's a lot that I don't know about photography. There's more that I don't know than I do know. And that shows you how anybody could do it. It'd be really easy to do. There we go. That's the osprey across from the bowling alley. Excuse me. I'm surprised there are quite a few osprey nests in this area. There's Somerset. There's 2 or 3 in Somerset. There's Dighton.
What in Westport?
Westport, yep. There's one right out at the Allen's Pond Sanctuary. And the magnificent birds. I've got a couple of pictures of them. I don't know if I have it with me this time. There's not. Well, actually, they have fish in their hands as they were flying around. There's some of them that they even given names to. There was one, I think, in a Sonnet or Dighton where they had put a camera up on top of the nest.
Excuse me.
And they actually gave them names. I forgot what the names were though. What else we got going? There's that. That's in the same place. You can see the part of the nest in the lower right-hand corner of it. And it's just a matter of, catching the wings at the right time, where you take 5 or 6 shots as it goes by, bang, 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 and eventually you'll get that. That's the type of picture I got. I probably deleted 4 or 5 pictures in that set because they weren't something. I also got the claws, and you can see the claws, how sharp they are, the business end of those.
Do you have a preference about different kinds of animals?
The ones that are alive.
The ones that are alive?
Yeah, and it depends on where I am.
You've been to zoos? Ever been to a dog show?
No, I haven't been to a dog show.
You need to come to a dog show.
Oh, I could do that for you. Yeah.
We're going to have you come.
All right. If next time you let me know locally, I can, or even if
we
it's not
will
too far.
have
Yeah.
one.
All right.
There is the Rhode Island Kennel Club show is coming up in April, 2 days, and we are going to have big shows.
Where in Rhode Island's going to be?
They are going to be in North Kingstown, Rhode Island.
I can work that. You call me.
You will.
Right.
You'll know in advance.
Cool.
Steve, it's been fabulous. You're going to have to come back.
Time's up.
This has been great.
Oh yeah, good.
And we like the fact that you are educating people
as
about wildlife
yeah.
and about maybe developing a new hobby.
Right. As I was taught, that's the reason why I do it. I'm in that same point. I went out and listened to people, go to an Audubon sanctuary, bring a camera, listen to the people. You'll learn about the tendencies and how different animals react different ways, and you can maybe get even closer and get a good shot.
Audubon in Warren on the Bristol line there. They have some great programs.
Yeah. They're out there if you want to do them. Get off the couch and get out there.
And get out there and have fun.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
I'm looking forward to coming back.
We look forward to having Steve Oliveira from Swansea, Mass. to come back for another episode of Fur, Fins, and Feathers. We'll see you in a few weeks. Thank you.